Hello, David here, and the project for today is repairing an antenna that doesn't work. This is one of those automatic antennas that go up and extend when you turn the radio on, and it retracts when you turn the radio off. There's several things that could cause this not to function. One, it could be a bad motor. Two, it could be a bad drive gear on the antenna. Three, it could be a wiring problem inside the car. Since the motor was running, when I noticed I turned the car off and the antenna did not retract, I'm going to assume it's the antenna mast itself. I found a source on the web called Antenna Mast R Us. They're not a sponsor, but this is what I just got. And it's got this cable on there that has gear teeth on it to retract the mast. Even though the motor stopped running after I turned the car off, I was concerned that it might decide to turn on its own, or it might run the battery down. So I went in the trunk and I disconnected it. I know of one person in the 1980s that had this happen, and the motor didn't stop running when the gear teeth broke. It just kept running, and we're afraid it was going to run her battery down, so I disconnected the motor for her until she could get it to a technician. In the event that you may choose not to repair the antenna, you could leave it as it is. Just keep it in the extended position. You might have to pull on it to extend it, but you'll probably want to go inside the trunk and disconnect the electrical connection. And don't forget, if you do leave it extended, don't go through an automatic car wash because it's going to rip off the antenna. Let's pull down this felt covering. There's the antenna motor. This is the wire you want to disconnect. Comes from that position right there. It's important that the replacement antenna match the original antenna, because if it doesn't match, it may not fit. If it doesn't match, it probably means that you have an aftermarket antenna on your car. The next step is to take this nut off of here, and I don't have the tool that fits these slots on here. I don't know anyone that does. So I'm going to hit it with a punch. And to protect the paint, I'm going to cover the paint with some newspaper. Just like that. Goes off counterclockwise. The next step is to have someone turn the radio on, and then you grab the mast and pull it out as the power unit is feeding out the cable. What I'm going to do is turn on the ignition on the radio, and although the motor's not connected to the power cord, I'm going to connect the power cord, and then I'll be able to pull it out myself. That's the plan anyway.
He's a Democrat Party boogeyman. committee despises Hispanic politics. 9 Republicans scored every Democrat to approve the contempt resolution 249.
Notice the direction that gear teeth are facing. They're facing to the forward part of the car. That's how the new unit has to go in. Make sure this grounding grommet comes out with the antenna as well. I'm not so sure that my teeth on the cable face forward, because that direction is forward. The antenna mast is on the forward end of the gear housing, and the teeth are supposed to face the gear housing. That's the gear housing right there. Here's where the antenna mast comes in. So I'm going to put it in with the teeth facing to the rear, which would be facing the gear on the motor. This grounding sleeve is important because this is what holds the antenna into the body of the car against this ferrule. I notice the new antenna comes with two grounding collars, a short one and a long one. And the long one is the one that matches the original. Just like that. But I also notice the cable on the new one is this much longer than the old one. And the instructions say never to cut the cable on the new antenna. And one of the reasons is that there might be a piece of broken cable inside the motor assembly. Looking at the end there, I don't know if the end's supposed to have a point on it or not. The new one's got a slight point on the end. I don't know if that matters. Instructions say that you have to remove the broken piece of cable from the motor before you could put the new cable in, because there's no room for 2 cables. These 2 bolts are 10 millimeter. That's some type of drain plug here. That's the end of the drain plug. Looks like that. There you go. Push this button and it'll come out. There's a tiny nut on the back side of that gear housing. It takes a 9/32 socket. Don't want to lose that. See what's going on in there. Ah, there's the rest of the cable. Instructions are to remove the old grease and put some wheel bearing grease in here. Okay, I got some wheel bearing grease. Put it inside of here. Don't know how much to put in. I'll spread it around with a screwdriver. Whoops, that wasn't smart. There we go, forgot the cover. That's smart. You have to lift up on the assembly slightly to get the top of the motor housing up flush with the hole in the fender. I think the scromming will be easier to get in if I take it off this hose and put it in without the hose and then stick the hose in the hole. And that is the case. Because before it was popping out. Okay, I've got the radio turned on. I got a boring station so I won't get a copyright strike on a music station. I'm going to pull out the antenna all the way because when I turn the radio off, it's supposed to pull everything in. I'm supposed to have an assistant help do this, but I don't have an assistant. I'm going to have the teeth facing to the rear. Okay, I think I'm caught. I'm going to go turn the radio off. Whoa, success. I'm going to start the ferrule rule a little bit, catch the threads. Let me turn the radio on and off a few times. Instructions say that if you don't necessarily get the cable centered on the gear teeth at the proper location, that it eventually centers itself by turning itself on and off a few times. I'm going to put some silicone paste on it, just to lube it up a little bit. Not a sponsor. And I'm going to run it up and down a few times and then I'll wipe off the excess. The replacement antenna did not come with any instructions. I had to go to their website to get the full instructions, and they're very detailed. The website URL is antennamasts.com. Antenna, mast, the letter R, us.com. They have full instructions here, show you how to remove the ferrule, show you what to do in case this ground retaining sleeve is rusted into the body of the car. They have a procedure for pulling it out. How to remove the cover in the event you have a piece of broken cable in there. And then how to set the antenna mast in there. Whoops, my mistake. There is a instruction sheet in the envelope with the new antenna mast. There's no pictures, however, but these are pretty detailed instructions. Let's wrap this up. I'm going to consider this project a success. I'd like to thank you guys and gals for watching. I'd appreciate it if you help out my algorithms by hitting like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more great videos from David GPO.